Who's gonna be the host of the show? I think you should be the host.
Of course, come on now. I
Leonardo.
mean, look at me. What are we talking about here, gentlemen? The host. So, what are we gonna call it though? 4 more? What are we?
4Ever Muor, in my opinion.
What do you say, Muff?
I'm cool with whatever name y'all feel like. Like as long as the logo will look good, then I think we can be all set.
As long as what?
As long as we can make the logo look good.
Yeah,
Like Forever More or 4 More. I think 4 More is cool. Less is always more. No pun intended.
That was good.
What do you got?
What?
Don't poke Nick. Kill me.
What I got for the name for the Forever More or 4 More, I'm cool with that.
Pick one.
Thank you.
Sure, man. Forever More.
We don't believe in the indecisive.
Okay, so we got 2 on. So we got 2 to 2. So we'll come back to that. One thing I do like though. One thing that I do believe that no matter who sits in these 4 chairs, I do like the mantra, who's like us.
You what?
The mantra, who's like us. So the 4 people that sit in these chairs going forward, whether it be us brothers or whether we have a guest, these 4 people are unlike any other 4 people on earth.
I would say so.
So yes, so I do like that a lot. So who's like us? So whether we are 4 more or 4Ever Muor, the real.
So are we saying that it's only going to be Moors in these seats at all times, or we're going to have other nationalities in here?
As much as because which is why I know I'll be a solid host. As much as diplomatic as I'd like to be, I do see that the world does deserve a more equatorial perspective.
Indigenous,
So
Aboriginal.
So yes, so those of us who sit here should be people of culture, of some significant culture.
Well, yeah, but that's
And I know that culture, the word culture is such.
Equatorial means the equator. Anyway. I knew that.
How long were you waiting to do that?
So I know that the word culture is so cliche now, but let it be people who are
Pimps.
who are
something like that.
who are no strangers to that the world is a very big place and we are all shades of brown, of which many of us are darker shades of brown. So that's it. Anyway, so we started off talking about these NBA contracts, and which is another thing too. On the note of perspective, we are all Igbo men, right?
We should do a little bit of an introduction first.
Yeah, we in fact we should. So I'll give my full name, starting with Moneke, Ike Dinobi, the name that my father gave me, or the name that's my chief name. So Moneke is my family name. Ike Dinobi is my chief name. Obuasa is the name my father gave me. Shuku Debelum is also named that my father and mother gave me, and Nick is the English name that's tagged on to that. So those are most of my names.
I've known this man my whole life and I had no idea any of those names were.
Right. Hey Nick!
I just called him Nick.
So
We drank all the juice.
Growing up, we did call him Chude.
Yeah.
Of course.
And in fact, really, it's as I've gotten older, I've fought. You know how as how you get that first punch, and if you're not trained, you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But then, so the first punch in the face tells you, okay, I know what to do, or I don't know what to do. Right? That's it. So as I've gotten older, I've been hit in the face more, and now I'm falling. I prefer to fall back to that name. I mean, those people who call me by the name Chude, I'm like, okay, that's who I've always been. So I've come to appreciate that a lot more. All right, let's go in order though, because so I was the firstborn, so that puts you next.
I'm going to keep it simple. I'll take my title name because I appreciate it, which is simply Omekago. which is the behavior of the leopard. That's it.
Good name. Oh
Yeah.
my God. All right. Next in line. We're skipping over our sister who's not here right now, so let's speak to that though. So she's not here at the moment, but okay, go next in line.
Yeah, quite simply.
Not skipping over. That's not a good word.
Yeah.
And sorry, I didn't put that eloquently, but anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry.
My name is Morph, and I have Sean Warneke. As far as my title, I'm pretty sure I have it somewhere written down somewhere. Like Dad gave me the title.
Yeah.
You'll know it. Like
No, I don't know it because I didn't know they were doing titles.
yeah.
There's one more than that. I gave you your title.
Okay, yeah. So I'll find it somewhere. But yeah, Morph, and I have Warneke. It's funny about this. I'm an influencer in reference to like nightlife and marketing and advertising, and also I do a lot of graphic design. And I've been in this city doing this for about almost a little bit over 20 years. But I mean, like, what's funny about it is when people see this podcast, I have a lot of people who would call me intelligent, and they're gonna see that I don't hold a candle to my brothers, and they're gonna be like, "Then there's 4 of you." It's gonna be hilarious. So they would call me intelligent, but I always say that like amongst my peers, my brothers, I think I have a Bill Maher sense of intelligence amongst others, because Bill Maher's only smart around idiots.
You're saying you're a prick?
I'm saying that I'm only smart around idiots.
Oh.
Wow.
But then amongst my peers, my brothers, I'm back to being regular.
Hey man, cut it out.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, yeah, but anyways, I think this should be fun. Have discussions about enlightenment.
About everything. Okay.
My name is Motugo Ikanna Richard Bradley Moneke. I'm unaware of my title as well. I'm the last born. Also, I want to make an apology on behalf of this one right here. This is Modozim. Isaiah Richard Moneke.
No, he's always about it. It's all.
Yeah, but you know, couldn't find a babysitter, so he's gonna join us on this adventure.
On this first episode, right?
First episode.
It'll be interesting to see him grow.
Yeah.
As the episode grows. All right, so those are formal introductions. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Being the last one of these two, these 4 gentlemen here, I've learned a lot. So I'm probably going to be quieter than usual because I seek to gain more, dialogue with my brothers that we don't actually partake in. So this is really, really fun for me. So that being said, have at it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find these titles.
You don't remember your title?
I know my titles, bro.
So, prior to this, we were talking about we were talking about NBA, Major League,
raising children. You know, sports is one of the things you have to deal with in raising children. And Sean was complaining about, dealing with coaches, which is just another dynamic, and how to navigate raising your child and doing the right thing, even though when you deal with other people outside of your family that are interacting with your child, you have to know how to interact with that person in a civilized manner where you won't get in trouble and the child gets the best out of it. One of the worst experiences that I had to deal with was coaches. What'd you say? So Sean's experience dealing with what his coach is doing to his son, AAU basketball, that's kind of things like, okay, well, I know what you're going through, and you're gonna have to deal with it. But understanding why these people do what they do. Like you made a comment about coaches don't have to give opportunity. See, that's where I disagree. That's one of the reasons I hate where sports is going now. Mm-hmm. Because one thing I was guaranteed when I was growing up is an opportunity. The coach will give you a chance to mess up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then nobody was giving any questions.
So the coaches aren't supposed to pay the best players to win the game?
No, of course. But how do you know the best players are giving everybody the opportunity?
When my wife sees you say that, she gonna be like, you see? I told you.
No. Look, when I coached, I gave everybody the opportunity. And when they didn't play, they knew it. They knew why. You can't just not give someone an opportunity and say, well, he's a good player. How do you know? You know, oh, because of practice. Okay, great. Have you given him a game chance? He's still practice, I get it. But have you given him a game chance? Because just like analysis is qualitative plus quantitative, knowing a basketball player is practice plus game. You can't just take one. I knew guys in Texas who were incredible practice players. Incredible.
Trash in the game.
What? Horrible. You couldn't play them. You know, and then I knew people like Chris Clack.
Yeah.
Chris Clack wasn't a good practice player. He didn't want to be there.
In the game, he
put his knee in the ring. He put his knee in the ring, boy. And in the game, I remember not thinking he was that good. And then he'll make a play, and I'm like, God damn.
Yeah.
I said, man, you gotta play that dude.
Yeah.
So
no, like you said the best. Like usually, like you always leave consolidation to where if you can hoop, you're gonna be on the court. So I mean, like
not the case in basketball anymore.
What?
Not the case. I mean, you can get screwed, man.
Politics.
Man, it's. I hate saying that because don't get me wrong. If you're a monster, you're gonna be on the court. If you're a monster, but the what will I say? The standard now of being a monster is really high. Back in the days, you had potential to get on the court.
Or more so, like right now, coaches are looking for team players.
Man, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
What are they looking for?
They're looking for skill, which wasn't the case when I was playing. When I was playing, it was all about potential. Oh, he's going to be this in 3 years. All about potential. Like Darius Miles was the number 3 pick, I think, a year before me. And Stromile Swift was the number 3 pick my year. Kenyon Martin was the number 1 pick. He was good. I mean, he dominated college basketball. But Stromile Swift, I believe, was number 2. And I don't remember number 3. But Stromile was potential. And he ended up being good. But he was all potential he was drafted off of. Now, they're not drafting potential, not for the most part.
It's probably because of Steph.
Say again?
Steph brought back skill.
Steph brought back skill.
Yeah.
Steph and James Harden brought back not just skill, extreme skill. I would say the first
in the gym shooting like 1,000 jumpers.
not just that, man, just pristine execution. When you start looking at the guy going, man, is that ball glued to his hand? Like the first person I saw that was like that in my generation was Steve Francis.
Okay. I remember that. Yeah.
Steve was elite in terms of skill.
Yeah.
Elite. The way
But he was a hooper though. He was the
listen,
first Kyrie.
You can call it what Kyrie is skill.
But my point is this: are they playing basketball or are they hooping? They hooping.
Man, I don't know what that means. Listen. I mean, they're hooping and they're playing whatever. I mean, have you watched Kyrie do a sidestep?
Okay, my point about Kyrie is this: it looks like a lot of what his skill came from playing. A lot of what Steph's skill came from looked like it came from practicing and training. Does Kyrie train or does he play a lot?
Man, I don't know Kyrie personally, but you can't do what he's doing without training.
Okay.
That's repetition. I mean, what he's doing is the way he shoots.
No,
His shooting form is
that shot that he made over.
Back to your point. What about Steve Francis?
Okay, yeah. Do you think that he was training or was he hooping?
Steve Francis trained. Okay. I was on that team.
Yeah, he knows.
I was on that team with the Rockets. That's something I'm trained. And his practice was like a show. Like shooting, 2-minute drills, elbow, baseline, elbow, baseline, elbow, elbow. I was like, dude, is he gonna miss? Like, what the hell am I? That's when you knew, I'm one of those cup of coffee guys. And you're watching these guys do this, you're like, man, I can't play in the NBA.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So the level of skill, but you could get away with not being skilled when I played and have a lot of potential and you'd be on the team. You'd be on the team until you were 38 years old. If you just had potential till he's what? How long is potential gonna keep going?
Yeah.
And he's long. Well,
he's a late bloomer.
Who's an example of that?
An example of potential
Of being on the team forever.
Being a team, a person who's on the team who has potential, that has lower skill than the rest of the standards of the NBA. Like you said, you can be on a team.
No, it's tough. That's a tough question because when you're 20 years old and you have potential and you're in the NBA, it's difficult not to get better because it's 24 hours a day. What else do you have to do?
I understand that, but you were saying you could be in the NBA and not have skill. So
No. What he's saying is that like even if you got into the NBA, the point he's making is that you get into the NBA.
You can get back when I played.
Yeah.
You could get into the NBA without skill, but with potential.
And then eventually
you're going to get skill eventually
gotcha.
by accident because you're playing all the time.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one guy that. Okay, great. Okay, I do have an example. Gerald Wallace.
I remember that name.
Oh man.
Gerald Wallace.
Oh, he could never shoot. He couldn't dribble. I don't even see where the potential came from. The guy was just maybe 6'6". He could jump, but his game was so nasty. And to me, he was never good. What was his career average? What was his career?
I remember him.
What was his numbers career?
Let's see.
Career stat. I guarantee it was under. If I had to guess, under. I'd be surprised if it was double digits for his career.
Stats.
All right, well, while you guys look for that,
I have it here.
let's bring this back to the equatorial African piece of it then,
Oh yeah.
About raising children.
about raising children.
Yeah, we're getting lost in the sauce when it comes to basketball,
Yes,
but I
so-
mean like, but yeah, his
As
career.
you can see,
his
we are all junkies or athletics
That's a
junkies,
tough
sports
His
junkies.
career peak was like 18.2.
What was his career average? 11.9. That's pretty good.
I mean, like if you're one of the how many guys have been in the NBA? 4,000, 5,000, something like
The
that.
history of the world.
Yeah, in the history ever, like about less than 5,000.
I would say so.
If you're one of those guys, and you're one of those guys, so like
I mean, yeah, kind of.
you were there. I mean, so like if you're one of those guys, I mean, you could hoop.
That's crazy. That's a good point.
You know.
Go ahead, as you were saying.
So raising children though, because we are the product of native-born parents who were native to Igbo land, or we'll say Africa, because I like thinking of Africa more as a big continent.
Al-Kebulan.
I don't understand what that is, but
One of the old names.
Oh really?
I didn't know that. I thought you were explaining.
Al-Maghrib in Arabic. Go ahead.
so the while the continent is one, it is of many dialects. But anyway, so
Languages. No, no,
thank you,
Yeah.
right, yeah, languages, thank you. So we were raised here as product of two cultures, right? Or product of a culture and then with another culture. So our children, or the next generation of Igbos, of Africans, they're here already, right? So they are essentially. Why are you making that face?
Finish it.
Finish it!
So I mean, on this panel, I was born in Nigeria,
Yes.
and then you guys were born here. So,
And Robert.
I am. Sorry,
In
in America.
Yeah.
I say America. So I am African American.
No, that doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
No.
I am African. So anyway, but it is different though, right? I mean,
No, like
so
the one I was-
because as with each generation, we are still holding on to that cultural piece. Right?
The point I was making was that like, where you're born, it isn't really necessarily like what made any of us. It's more so like, would you agree that you were raised in Nigeria, America, or like Nigeria, Houston?
I like that.
Yeah, Nigeria.
Houston, Nigeria.
I actually think of it as Nigeria,
Nigeria.
Texas.
Yes,
That's what I think.
that's nice.
Because there are some things about me that are,
So
even dealing with my coworkers, there are some things about me that are extremely Nigerian, like extremely Igbo, and then there are things about me that are extremely Texas.
So I think it's like we are the epitome of, what we try to do is do what they say in scripture in reference to like living in the world but not of the world. So
I would say that.
like we go outside, see what happens in our day-to-day lives in school, see what's happening in day-to-day lives on the media, and know this shit is crazy.
But you have to admit,
Like this is awkward. And then you come home and you wouldn't try to bring it home. As a matter of fact, whenever you have a guest come from out of the house, you remind them, hey, you're not in America when you come in this room. House.
Yeah.
So be careful. Yeah. So you see my dad, say good afternoon.
Yeah.
He'll kill both of us.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
He
true.
will murder you.
Embassy of
No blood. And put you in the backyard.
bury in the backyard.
You
But
know,
no blood.
You about to
So,
say?
but you have to admit, that, Igbos, Yoruba, outside Nigerians, Africans. I don't know about many other Africans, but Igbos have a tendency to live in a dichotomous place, and when they're living in America, because Igbos by nature are conservative. That's why we say in Texas, Nigeria that we were raised, or Nigeria, Texas, whatever.
Yeah.
It's an accurate statement. It's easy to live in Texas because the state is basically conservative, and Igbos are very, very conservative and very, very Republican. But they get caught up in the culture of being so-called black in America, and they think they're supposed to be liberals. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But the thing,
Black folks ain't really liberals.
they're not. They're not. They're not. They're not.
Yeah.
But
Historically, no. Yeah,
they're not.
No, not even historically. They're not liberal.
No, I agree with you. But they think they are.
Yeah.
So that makes it a dichotomy, like a mental dichotomy.
But here's the thing I would say that like people might think is kind of crazy. I think
boy,
that
here we go. Let's get ready to get canceled.
No, look. I think that the only reason why black folks act liberal is because black women are liberal.
And
Because
that ends this one.
They don't want the stress. They don't want the stress.
Bring on.
Look. You see where I'm going with this, right?
Bring on.
Look. Like our dad does it all the time. Where he'll be like, "Hey, Naya, you did what?" And then dad, relax. And then you explain to him. You're like, "Okay, well then go to his wife and be like, NG, like that kind of thing." He'll get like, you know what I'm saying? But like in reference to like now you all are thinking that I'm thinking of liberal as a bad thing.
Oh, I think liberal is a bad thing.
No. I do. But
I think it's a bad thing.
My point is this:
Yeah.
like the concept of liberal in America is only bad because of how they operate around it. Meaning that like it's okay to like obviously want to help the poor. That's fine. But are you really helping the poor by stepping over them in California? But y'all are all liberal, right? Aren't y'all all liberal?
Yeah.
Don't y'all care about the poor?
Yeah, it's like
But I mean, California, aren't the most poor people, like per capita.
sure.
You see what I'm saying?
California's,
So I mean, like, so liberal in America
Trash.
is not really liberal.
yeah, no.
That's my point.
Well, I mean, and then on a separate note, and before we get too political, I mean, and those are actually good dialogues to have. Just be prepared for the backlash that comes from it, and keep going. But anyway, in America, no one truly is liberal, and no one truly is conservative.
Hold on. Shit. They got liberals here. They got staunch, insane liberals.
He went to UT Austin.
Oh yeah.
I went to Texas UT. Man, you got life twisted. You got liberals here, man.
Okay.
And you don't have real conservatives. You have conservatives are
Just by name only. That's
no, not by name. They're a little conservative.
Let's dial it back to how Igbos are conservative. 'Cause, I mean,
Sure.
like, we're kind of going all over the place.
Sure.
So you were saying about how Igbos are conservative.
Igbos are just we're about rule of law.
Sure.
Rule of law, and there are certain things that are eternal maxim that Igbos have decided. When say religion, for example. What's true religion? True religion is nationality, right? So Igbos have a nationality that they don't ignore. And for example, an Igbo person may say it's right to, I don't know, for a child to have rights in Texas, or like the American government say, oh, your child has a right to choose this gender or whatever they want to choose. Okay, and Igbo says, well, did Joe Biden say it? He said it. Okay, then I agree.
Exactly.
Which Democrat said it? I agree. And like, well, Mom, when did you become a Democrat? And she'll respond like, well, do you know this guy, Donald Trump, is a racist? I say, who cares? Even if he was, who cares? Who cares? Like, what do these people do? Give me a policy these people have put in place that benefit you, that even treat you as a human being. She looks up to this guy. I said, okay, great. Every time a Republican's in power, I make a lot of money. I make a lot of money every single time. And if you want, if you call that racist, then give me the racist guy.
Absolutely.
It's all gravy. You're not touching my property, my body, or my family. You can hate me all you want. I hate you too.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn. So now,
and I would dare to say that's been the experience of a lot of ethnic people, ethnic men especially.
you mean Aboriginals?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to say black men, but
Yeah,
I've heard other men say the same thing.
brothers.
That wasn't.
You say Moors, Aboriginals,
Moors, yeah,
whatever you
thank
say.
you. So that's
Other men saying the same thing that when Donald Trump was in office.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah, you know what's funny? Like
I
brothers
don't
don't want to admit that they like him. It's silent. Look, me and my boy, all the discussions. Like, yo, Trump is doing a bit. You see his latest bit? Like, a bit is a comedy.
Yeah.
Like, yo, look at this. Yo, this guy said perhaps, unfortunately or fortunately, like that was what women wanted. Like this nigga's hilarious. Goddamn.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
He's
And so,
funny.
like, yeah, I mean, like, so when you have a comedian running around doing goofy shit in the office or whatever like that, and it just happens you're making money, I don't care if you don't like niggas. Fine, whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this nigga don't like niggas.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
if you ain't gonna like niggas, at least me make some money.
Yeah.
You know,
So-
like, so.
It's fun. That's what I wanted to get back to the point about Igbos being conservatives.
Okay.
Igbos believe in the rule of law. There are certain things you just can't do. So, children's rights. Okay, that sounds right to Igbo people. I say, Mom, can I insult my dad? What phrase do we have in Igbo all the time? Ade me. It's not done.
It's not
Not even that we don't do it. It's not done.
That's bigger than that. We don't do it.
That is the saying in Igbo. We say it in Igbo all the time. Ade me, right? It's not done. So how about if the forefathers of this particular village, the elders say this. I want to go them and I'm going to insult them. Hey, nah, because my or our parents. Once our parents say, "Nah, knows ago," that means the conversation's over.
Yes.
That's the rule of law.
That's a good
That means
point.
the conversation's over.
Cause you wanna keep fighting. You're like, okay, shit.
Yeah. This and
They don't know. They might not know what Ozugbo means.
Ozugbo means sometimes.
Our what's it called? Our audience is going to be, for the most part, Igbos.
I mean,
So
No, it'd be more than that. I'm sure.
okay, my bad.
Because the Igbo culture is
It'll be
interesting.
more, yeah. It'll be more. I get it. It'll be more.
So yeah,
He said more.
Yeah.
there are things that Igbos will not do, no matter what. So, okay, great. All these Igbo people that are talking about racism because they were thrown into this evolution that is America. So now we look up and say, oh, everybody's racist. Oh, racism. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I don't call it racism. It's hegemony. It's a different word. It's different. It exists, but it's not racism necessarily. And the racist ones are just the dumb ones. Whatever, you can be racist, you're just dumb. But in terms of this, my parents most Igbos act Democrat when they're in America. Then you say, hey, Mom, Dad, you know that they say that there's not two genders, right? So what do you mean? There's not just man and woman, there's a whole bunch of different genders. What?
It's like over 50.
Yeah, you said. So, I said, Mom, they say biological sex you're born with, but gender is assigned at birth.
Vagina is called a bonus hole.
Yeah, there you go. Said, no, what are you talking? What do you mean assigned at birth? You're boy, it doesn't compute with Africans.
Yeah.
So you're gonna say Africans are whatever, homophobic, it doesn't compute. We have no idea what you're talking about. That's it.
Yeah.
So, why do we have no idea what we're talking about? Because we live by eternal maxims that were created by our culture, our true religion. It can't change. The reason why we are here is because Igbos have a rule of law within our community that sustains us. That makes us conservative. No matter how much the Democratic vote says, I vote, 3 million Igbos vote now that you can sleep with your wife on her when she's during her monthly cycle.
Gross, bro.
Oh, in the Igbo, I say, nah, because this thing out. You can't do that. Yeah. You can't do that. Yeah, we can be liberal, but so now you can choose your gender in Igbo land. So they'll say, what do you mean? No, not even that they're fighting you. It's that we don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Because what's the word for transgender in Igbo? There's no word.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Well, no, there's no word.
Yeah.
We have wine now. Okay.
And this is from this. That's a good point because this is from a culture that's been around
We've been around for a minute.
For probably the longest, if not the longest, but maybe, I think some people, in some circles, they say Igbo is like the third or fourth language spoken on earth.
I don't know.
So it's one of the earliest languages ever spoken on earth. So this, anyway, this is for a culture that's been around a long, long time.
Who said that though? For the Igbo? I'm not.
I am not in a place right now to speak to the.
Fair enough.
So I will say
the
this.
accuracy of that statement.
I will say this.
That's why I said some.
Yeah.
But I do know that in some of the language experts that I've spoken to, when they talk about.
He's a language.
No. I'm talking about like etymology.
Etymology.
Yeah, etymology. So the people who say like the history of languages.
Sure.
Yeah, that Igbo is one of the first languages ever spoken.
So I can see that.
One of the earliest languages. So
The only way I can see that is because, so I speak a lot of languages, and
How many do you speak?
7,
Call them out.
6.
Really?
English.
A little bit of English.
The audience will be interested. Yeah.
Should I do it?
Yeah.
So English, proficient. Igbo, Spanish, French, Portuguese. What's the other one? Lingala.
Lingala.
And my worst language is Hebrew. I haven't studied it in a long time. I was really good at it.
Speak 5.5.
Yeah. So with that, with what I've noticed about, and I read Korean. I understand a little bit of Chinese. I can read Greek. I understand a little bit what I'm reading there. Italian, I basically understand it. And what I've noticed is, like, when you compare languages, I haven't seen many similarities to Igbo in terms of sentence structure. You do see similar sentence structure in Bantu languages. Similar, but it's not the same. So most Bantu languages have something like, they have plurals. Igbo don't really have a plural. You know, you have to add many in front of the noun for Igbo in Igbo language. So the similarity that I've heard in Igbo for the first time was in a language called the Umiad. It's a very old language. Now, Umiad is close to Punic. That's pretty old. That's like, talking about, what's it called? Sumerian. It's old. Umiad is old.
Where is this language located?
The Levant, Middle East, what they call the Middle East, which is
Middle East.
Yeah,
So
like
called
East Africa. Well, actually, it's East Africa.
When I speak to Igbo culture, I go back more, and I'm more science based, but I go back to more the first humans came from that area. Like, you know, so your first
From which area?
That
Western
area,
Africa.
not Western Africa, more like that hotbed that is probably now Cameroon.
So you need to do more research. There's substantial evidence that supports the oldest human beings actually coming from the coastal part of the Americas.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now that could be the case, or it could be. I tend to believe more some of the stories that the guys in the Nation of Islam talk about, because I'm a petroleum engineer, study geology, and some of the stories that they give me in geology don't really make any sense. Some of the models that you put together, and we do models in reservoir engineering, and if you change one thing in an eighth decimal point, it kills the model. So when they start telling me about, oh, this Pleistocene is 6 million years old, and this is, I just say, I hear you. I just don't know how you can legitimize that. It's just a bunch of smart people talking.
So carbon dating is basically BS?
I think carbon dating is BS.
Yeah. Interesting.
I think
Wow.
carbon dating is BS.
Science.
So, yeah. So with carbon dating, in my view, you cannot accurately depict the age of something, but you can tell what is older and younger. That's true. Older, because you can't tell the baseline, but I can tell you that this one is younger than this one.
That these materials broke down.
Before this broke, yes, no doubt about it.
So yes, you can do it relative, but
yes.
But there's no real reference point that we could.
When you do the models, you see, it's somewhere between.
But that's usually what scientists do. They'll say somewhere between.
Look, somewhere between 100 million and 10 million years. That's a big gap.
I don't know many scientists who do that.
So as far as there are plenty of people in the school of thought that when the continents were together, that they were probably joined the African Americas. There's, you know, body of water in the middle, and there were people around that body of water.
Yes.
And there was a major cataclysm that caused these people to stay on this side, and these people to stay on this side.
Yes.
And they were old enough to communicate with their family members that there was something over here back in the days, like my forefather. In fact, if you read, I don't know what it's called in English, but it's a French book. Le Sept Siècles de Aboubakar II, who's Mensa Musa's grand uncle, I believe, who abdicated the throne to Mensa Musa's, his brother Mensa Musa's grandfather. I believe Sundiata. If you read the Epic of Sundiata and the travels of Aboubakar II, there are old books. And I don't even think that book is written in English.
Wow.
There are old books that talk about Aboubakar II saying he's abdicating the throne to go find the land that his forefathers talked about where the sun sets. So I said, what are you talking about? Well, there was land here before. And these are, you can read these books.
And these are stories told down generation.
Oh yeah, these are
pretty impressive.
But
and if that's the case, it had to be told. It had to be told in some sort of language, right? So, or was it told in pictures?
No. It was probably at the time. Those guys in Mali were.
Had to be told.
They were speaking some form of Arabic, some Semitic language.
There had to be some sort of language.
Yeah.
You know, so I just say all that because, and back to the note of growing up Igbo.
I was just talking about the oldest people could be from that area, maybe, but there could be older bones like in the Americas and South Carolina that, you know, that migrated during the cataclysm. Yeah, and then migrated, kept going east towards East Africa and Egypt, and then came back to where their land they came from.
Now, before we stop and move on to the next and prepare for the next episode. But this brings me to another thing too, though, because we should be thankful because we have some sort of culture, some sort of identity that we can actually pass on to our children. So however we're raising our children, whether it be academically or athletically or artistically, we pass on some sort of knowledge base or some sort of belief system that they can operate with. So that sometimes can be a little bit difficult.
Oh yeah.
Not really given where we are, but given where we are in where we are, right? So, because we were talking about Trump, who many comedians will say, man, Trump don't care, Trump don't give a F, right? Trump. I mean, that's because of where he is and where he is. So the purpose of this podcast, well, he's wealthy in America.
Oh yeah. so what you're saying is that we were making the Nigerian money, our children will be more inclined to accept our culture.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
exactly right. Yeah, exactly.
And that's the case for all children. The winners write the history.
Yeah, exactly. That's the case for all children. Yeah. So really,
losers right now.
You got to make you got to make money to where your children are like, okay, that's cool. I want
to
be like that.
The guy with the money. I want to be like him. The guy with money.
That's always been the case, no matter the culture, right? So because even when we see some of our successful friends' kids, their children, we're like, man, what's wrong with this child? Well, because that child is just emulating what their father, with their
like
brother.
The rich Nigerian kids, right? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, rich Nigerian kids get it.
Who taught you to be this? I
want to be a rich Nigerian kid.
Yes. Hey, in fact, put that on the tab. They have crazy rich Asians and crazy rich this, and we need to have something for Africans. Didn't they have?
They have it. Let me say something.
Yeah.
They're afraid to put those shows out.
Yeah.
Because man, look here. Yeah. I like when I see all these crazy rich Asians or the Kardashians. I'm like, guys, y'all ain't seen shit.
Yeah.
Go to Nigeria. Yeah. You just some crazy shit.
Yeah.
I would love to just, one day we had to have on this show? Yeah. Mustafa.
Yeah.
We gotta have Mustafa on this show.
We'll have other people in these seats. So.
Or Hussein. I got a friend you put in this seat, so you'd be like, you do what? All the time.
As long as they're willing to share that information,
Oh, they'll share it. We like that stuff.
Is that right? Lord. That's funny.
Nigerians share that information.
All right, cool. Well, guys, it's getting late. Sun's down. We'll pause it there and then come back to our next episode. I want to thank the guys behind the camera team. We appreciate you, of course. And then, we'll come back to this though. We still got to figure out what the name's going to be though. So we're going, so let's give that some thought, and then we'll come back to that though. But again, We four here.
More for your pleasure.
You're ridiculous.
You're killing me.
No.
So,
No.
so as far as us four though, who's like us? So thank you very much for listening to this podcast. Yeah, we will see you. These four are gone. Get it? Four gone. Get it?
Yeah.
I think that's enough.
Okay.
Enough
Yeah.
puns.
Thank you.
I think that's enough.
Until next time.